All right, welcome. We're going to go ahead and talk about different mark making techniques, and I will first discuss hatching. Hatching is pretty simple. It's a bunch of straight lines parallel to one another, and the objective of hatching and any other type of mark making technique, one of the objectives at least, is to create the illusion of form, light, dark, shadow, etc. So let me go ahead and provide you with some examples of what hatching is. Okay, so again, a bunch of straight lines, or as straight as you can get them, parallel next to one another, and they don't have to be the same thickness. You can vary up the line weight however you want. You can start by being darker and thicker, and then moving to be lighter and thinner. You can make them all thin, make them all dark, make them all thick, whatever you want. It really depends on the situation. All right, so I will demonstrate how you can use it in a practical sense, and I will start with drawing a tree. Okay, so there you have it. It's a tree. It's not complex. It's nothing fancy, but I kept it pretty simple, just for demonstration's sake. But you can see what you can do with the power of just a few hatch marks. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and talk about cross hatching. Cross hatching is pretty much hatching, but with lines that go over the others. Okay, so again, same thing applies. You can control the thickness, the line weight, the light, make it lighter, make it darker, make it thinner, make it thicker. You can hatch in any direction that you want. There's no rule telling you that you have to hatch in a certain way or direction. You go vertical, horizontal, diagonal, anything you want. Let me go ahead and show you a way in which you can apply it. I would always suggest you start light when making anything, especially when doing things in pen or pencil. Start light. That way you have options to go darker if you need to. If you start really dark, just like anything that you do in drawing, then you run out of options. You end up scoring the paper, and if you try to erase, you maybe can't erase everything. If you work in pen, then you're sort of stuck. So let me go ahead and demonstrate what I would do in a situation like this using cross-hatching as my mode of creating volume. Okay, so I pretty much got the basic form down, and now I can get darker if I need to, which I will. And how I do that is by playing with line weight, making my lines thicker and or darker, and going back to making them thinner and or lighter. And there you have it, portrait using nothing but cross hatching. All right, so the last and final technique that I want to share with you is called stippling or pointillism, and a lot of you may have heard of it. It's probably by far, by leaps and bounds, one of the most tedious types of techniques you can do when making a picture. It can take you days, sometimes weeks, and even oftentimes months to, depending on the size of the picture, how long it would take you to make it. Right, so when you do these dots, keep in mind, just like when you did the hatching marks and you did them further apart, you imply that that's light, that's a lighter part of the picture, as opposed to when they were closer, you're suggesting that that's the shadow or a darker part of that picture. The same applies to pointillism. The closer you are, closer you get these dots, the darker that part will be. The more you space them out, and maybe perhaps the smaller the dot, the lighter it will be. So let's go ahead and I will show you something. I'm going to actually juxtapose uh, a few different techniques for this demonstration. But first, let me go ahead and make a circle. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with some pointillism. The light will be coming down from this direction, if you haven't guessed it already. Okay, so I got where I got the basic foundation in the circle, and now I'm going to go ahead and apply some darks to suggest some volume. And I do this again by making the dots maybe a little bit bigger, darker, and just as importantly, closer together. Okay, so I think we're about done with this for now. I can go on forever, and but I think it's going to be a waste of our time if we keep on going. I think you get the general idea that I'm creating a sphere, and it's suggesting that there's some sort of volume, and there's some sort of shadow, and there's some sort of light. So there you go. There's basic pointillism. But as I said, I'm going to juxtapose this with crosshatching. It's all about experimentation. And keep in mind that you can approach crosshatching in a different way. You don't have to do it the way I'm doing it. There are many different variations of crosshatching. It's pretty much endless ways of crosshatching, so don't be afraid to try out a bunch of different things. So there you go. You got your stippling, you got some hatching, and you got some cross hatching, and they're sort of working in harmony. It's not perfect, but again, it provides you some of the examples that would probably help you out. And I'll be open to questions or anytime through email or on the wiki page. All right.